Hello, my name is Patricia Angelin, and you are at All the Feels out of Alba Technique in New York. And you're looking at a money plant on your right, and on camera left, that is a little bit of a, what do you call it, eucalyptus that is drying nicely, and then I will crumble it all up in a bowl and it'll give a beautiful scent. And as those of you who have listened to some of these All the Feels, I am a great proponent of how much aromatherapy is assistive to us. It really, really helps us, I think. And so anything we can do to make our environments and ourselves smell good. I think one of the reasons that it's so important is because we're breathing deeply in through our noses when we go to smell something. So it doesn't even matter all that much whether we have a great olfactory sense or not. I have a very heightened olfactory sense, and so scents are very, very important to me. And also they can give me great feelings of difficulty if I am assaulted, and I use the word advisedly, if I am assaulted by a bad smell. Over the past post-pandemic time, we've had a lot more homeless out on our streets, and this means that there are a lot more people using behind the subways and on the sidewalks as urinals. So one is much more assaulted, and in the warm weather, these things waft up to one, and it can give people who are sensitive to smells a lot of feelings of go in and ask to use the bathroom. But of course, these people are emotionally and mentally ill. And so that, frequently isn't an option, for them because they're not very functional. So anyway, that's one of the feelings that I have a problem with, especially in the summer. So the wonderful eucalyptus and the flowers from holly flowers or holly roses wholesale, they really help me. So I have two questions today that were sent into All the Feels. And these are questions in regards to nerves. And the querent says, it's kind of long, but it all amounts to the same thing. Do you ever feel nervous at an audition or interview? I do. I feel really nervous at auditions. And I have noticed that it has effects on my voice. Have you noticed that it has effects on your voice? What happens? Why? And then the sub question was, around the same thing. Why do I feel nervous at an audition or interview? What can I do about it? Most people talk about nerves. So what is it? How do I direct it? All right. This is a perennial question for all of us. I don't think it's just for actors and singers and dancers, because what happens is that our limbic system of our brain, whenever there is something new that is unknown to the organism, it gives us just a teeny little bit of neurological fear response. And that is not a bad thing. Our bodies are telling us, you don't know these people. You don't know what they're expecting. That's one thing. And that on the baseline would be enough for us to feel nervous. There also then on top of that are the very adult individual things that the sort of layer on top, such as, does one have a fear of failure? Does the auditioner or interviewer have a strangely fear of success because of what that's going to do in one's life and how it's going to change one's life if one succeeds? And that is not infrequent, but a lot of us aren't aware when we have the fear of success. So these things are the subconscious things that come into the brain, attendant upon the uptake of the fear pattern, which is limbically appropriate, limbically necessary, and universal, because your excellent body is telling you there's something new, there's something I don't know, I am a little bit afraid. Now, we don't think in our minds, I am afraid. No, we say I'm anxious or I'm nervous. Same thing, same thing. It's just that in Susanna Bloch's Alba emoting, when she observed the objective emotional universal patterning, standard or basic neurological patterning of the body in emotion, that are both felt and observable and readable by our mirror neurons toward each other, unless we have something in the way such as Asperger's or something, in which case we don't read those cues from other persons very, very easily, and sometimes not at all. So nervousness is, I want to reassure you, it is normal. It's normal. It's appropriate. It's to some degree unavoidable. And so reassure yourself when you feel nervous. That's the number one thing. Please reassure yourself that you're okay, that it's an appropriate feeling, that there's not anything wrong with you because you are feeling nervous in this new situation. Then, number two, having accepted the fact that you are nervous and that there's flutterings in your stomach, or that you start to observe what, I don't want to call it symptoms because that makes it sound like a disease, which we've just established it's not. It's healthy. Ask yourself, okay, what is my breathing doing? Am I having a little trouble getting breath in? Or am I having a little trouble getting breath out? Do I feel like my heart is fluttering a little bit, or butterflies in the stomach? Allow yourself to identify what's happening in your body. That's another good thing. That's number two. So having number one, you've recognized that you have feelings of nervousness. And number two, you're observing for yourself where in the body it is. In regards to the querent's query about the voice, have I noticed that it affects the voice? Oh yes, it so affects the voice. For some people, that's the very first thing that happens, because the muscles in here often will contract, and they will press in on the larynx. So all of these muscles make the lower, you can hear, if I go like that, I have a lot more lovely resonating up all the way up in my resonating chambers of my voice. But if I take small breaths in and out or something, and I get really nervous, and you can kind of see in my face right now because I'm doing some Alba emoting, and you can see in my face that I'm kind of nervous, and I'm actually not breathing out. I'm just kind of talking a mile a minute, and thoughts are coming into my head all over the place. And that is actually what's happening with me right now. Doing that with you. So yes, the voice for many, if not most people, is one of the first things affected. And so that means that if you're a singer, it's understandable that singers don't want to feel nervous because they don't want their voice clamped down. They don't want the glottis to go down and push down. So there's lots of technical things that singers would be working with their singing teachers, and then also with their singing coaches for that. The work of Alba emoting that I do at Alba Technique will foundationally help persons who want to be able to observe their voices. And I have a student in training who is already an excellent vocal pedagogist, Amelia Sargent. And Amelia Sargent is out of Florida. So you will be able to work with her, I'm hoping in 2023, with applying Alba emoting emotional effector patterns and the other aspects of Alba technique to your voice as her speciality. So the question of what happens, as I've just explained, why I've just explained a little bit, because it's natural and it's normal and it's appropriate. So again, remind yourself, whenever you're going into a new room where you don't know the people, you're going to get nervous. Whenever you maybe go into, a couple of the people, but you don't know who else is going to be there, and it's a different location, a room you've never been in, it's going to make you nervous. If you're trying out a new song, or if you're going for an interview for a new company, You don't know what they're expecting. Even if they think they've told you everything that they're expecting, you know, and I know humanly that there are a lot of expectations that people have that are hidden and they haven't told us, or of which they don't realize they've got, and they're trying to project onto us and they're unaware of it themselves. But all of those things are out of our control. We don't like things to be out of our control in that way. Going for the audition, going for the interview. So a certain amount of acceptance of the self, and acceptance of the newness of every situation, for every interview you go into and every audition that you go into, whether it's even when would seem to have a lot of control with the self-tapes. So you're putting yourself on tape and you would think you'd have more control, but there's still nervousness because we don't know what the expectations of the person to whom we are sending this example of our work. And sadly, we're probably not going to be able to be getting much feedback, if any at all, from the persons to whom we send this work that takes us so much time and so much energy and so much talent. So when you're looking at your nervousness, number one, notice your breathing. Notice if it is affecting your voice. Say a few things and notice if your voice is getting higher, or if it's getting tighter, or if it's coming up into the nose and into the upper resonating chambers and not allowing the resonating chambers in the chest to come into the sound of the voice. This is speaking voice or singing voice, equally applicable. And what can you do? I'm telling you, these assessments give you back a little control. So number one, you observe the self. Number two, you observe the breath. Number three, you observe where in your body you make these observations. Is it in the chest? Is it in the back of the neck? Is it in the larynx that you feel? Where do you feel it? Simply allow yourself to know these things. And then, and this is the final thing, I guess this is the fourth thing. When you think, oh, I'm nervous, or oh, I'm anxious, go back to then observing the breath. Sit yourself down. I think sitting is best for this, or lying down. You can do this lying down supine, on your back is supine. And breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. And notice what mental count your breath is doing. So if you have the classic Andrew Weil yogic-based way to calm down is 4 in through the nose, hold it for 4 counts, and then out for, 4 in, 7 hold, out 8, I think it is. So this does help. The ancient yogis, used this, and there are many variations on this theme. But that's how you calm yourself down. So lying on your back with your knees up and your soles of your feet on the bed or on the floor, make sure that your spine is very, very, very straight and that you feel it on the floor, and that your feet are very well grounded on the floor. Or if you're seated like I am, I would move around and find my little sits bones, the ball bearings at the base of your buttocks where your legs meet and go out, and be very, very grounded in your feet in the floor. Then breathe in through your nose, and we'll do 3 sets of 4 in, hold 7, 8 out. And 1, and out. And in. Hold. Out. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Close the eyes, in through the nose, out through the mouth, Open the eyes in through the nose, out through the mouth. And the how of 3 simple breaths like this, posturally intact, with the in through the nose and the out through the mouth, closing the eyes, then opening the eyes, will allow your breath to begin to calm down, will allow the muscles, wherever they've contracted, to begin to let go. It's like you're giving your body the cue. It's like you're going, hey body, you're good, you're fine. We figured out what's going on here and why you're nervous. You're okay. It's not going to go away completely, but let's work with the body. Let's acknowledge that the body is brilliant and it's just given you wonderful information that you're going into a new situation. There are things about it that are new, and that can be very exciting. So learn to accept yourself. Accept a little bit of nervousness. And if you want to get to the deep foundations of some of this in your body and what gets in the way of your being able to do this effectively and easily, then we would need to get together and I would need to start teaching you the Alba emoting emotional effector patterns. But preparatory to that, I have been doing some Zoom classes on Mondays. And there is a new class, Qigong. It's the emotional aspect of Qigong, and it really helps you begin to deal with your breathing in a whole new way. And it's different from the yogic breathings, and it's different from the Alba emoting neutral breath. So it's only an hour, and I purposely made it cheap. So do look at your schedule. Sorry, I've been talking to people from England, and see if you can join us noon to 1 Eastern time. It's under ongoing classes at Alba Technique. And also you could begin your journey toward the kind of acceptance and control. They seem like they're mutually exclusive, but they're not. They go together. Labor Day weekend or Columbus Day Indigenous Peoples weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 11 to 7 in New York. There will be in-person weekend intensive workshop. Very intimate, very, very one-on-one for you, okay? Thank you so much for that beautiful question, and I will look forward to joining you, I hope, either on YouTube where this will be posted. So please do tell people that they can access this on YouTube at the Alba Technique YouTube page. And also next week we will be on Instagram Live because we alternate platforms. Thank you so much for joining me. And here is our beautiful candle and eucalyptus and money tree. And I am Patricia Angelin, and you are at all the fields.